The king told me to pick a mate from either the vampires or the werewolves. I was instantly drawn to Darien, the werewolf. No hesitation, I chose him. On our wedding day, Darien marked me in front of his entire pack, finding us as partners. His childhood sweetheart, Finny, freaked out and ran off. Stupid bitch wandered right into the path of hunters who tore her to shreds. Afterward, Darien showed up at the scene, stared at Finny's mangled body, and said nothing. Just scooped her up and buried her with his own 2 hands. Then he acted like nothing happened, playing the loving husband with me. Until the moment he united the packs. That's when he jammed a knife through my throat, his eyes burning with hatred. If your goddamn singing wasn't the only thing that calmed my people on a full moon, I wouldn't have been forced to marry you. Finny wouldn't have been so heartbroken that she ran off and got herself killed by those hunters. Now I'm sending you down to hell to apologize to Finny. After a wave of excruciating pain. Then, I blinked, and I was back. Back to the day the king told me to choose. 2 portraits were in front of me. On the left, Darien was grinning like a goddamn maniac. But all I felt was a bone-deep chill. The pain of his knife ripping through my throat slammed back into me. Pale as a ghost, I practically leaped past his picture and pointed at the vampire. Your Majesty, I choose Sylar. The king hesitated. Bella, you're not choosing Darien? This alliance isn't some game, Bella. Once you choose, there's no going back. The king knew how I felt about Darien. My choice had to be a shock to him. But this whole rebirth thing was way too crazy to explain. I just nodded. Firm. I won't regret it. The king didn't push. He carefully took Sylar's portrait. I'll send for the shaman at once. Tomorrow, we'll have the ceremony. Announce your alliance with the vampires. Shamans could talk to the gods. Every interspecies marriage needed their blessing and a written contract. I nodded, bowed to the king, and walked the hell out of there. My handmaiden, Ava, practically pounced on me as soon as I left the palace. She wiggled her eyebrows. Did you finally get your wish? Your grace? I barely had time to shake my head when Darien came storming up to me. He stopped right in front of me, disgust clear in his eyes. Bella, I already have someone I care about. I can't marry you. I stared at him. Last time, when the shaman announced our engagement, he looked pissed, but didn't say a word. Now, he couldn't even wait for the shaman to show up before trying to dump me. Looks like Darien remembered everything too. He got impatient when I didn't say anything. Bella, do you have any self-respect? I'm telling you straight up, I don't want you. You're not going to try and force me into this, are you? I just glared at him. Who the hell told you I was going to pick you? Relax, I didn't choose you. Who you want to bang is none of my business. Darien's face tightened. He frowned. How could you not choose me? Bella, don't be stubborn. Go back to the king. Pick someone else. It'll be too late once the shaman gets here. I was already beyond annoyed. The thought of him tricking me last time, then stabbing me in the back, it made my skin crawl. I didn't have time for this crap. I just snapped, believe whatever the hell you want. Then I brushed past him and walked away. Fast. Ava was bristling, ready to fight. Your Grace, Darien is such an asshole. You're always sending him gifts, and he takes them all. You show him you like him, and he doesn't turn you down. Gives you just enough to keep you interested. Then he suddenly says he's got someone else? He's just playing you. I scoffed. Yeah, Darien had a million chances to turn me down. I wasn't exactly the clingy type. If he had someone else, I would have walked. But he wanted my siren powers, wanted my singing to calm his pack on the full moon, and he didn't want to upset his little Finny. The best part? He was the one who needed me, but he acted like he was doing me a favor. The werewolves weren't exactly one big happy family. The new leader up north, from the Snowfong pack, was a badass. Darien's people were getting their asses kicked. And every full moon, all the wolves turned into raging, mindless beasts. Darien used my singing to keep his pack calm so they could ambush the snow fangs and unite all the werewolves. The second he won, he didn't even thank me. He just murdered me to avenge his little sweetheart. This time, I'd watch him burn. I wanted to see how he would win without my help. I was lost in thought when some chick blocked my path. She looked stubborn. Eyes red. Your Grace? Darien and I love each other. Please, don't try to tear us apart. I had to stop. The palace road was packed with people. They all stopped to stare, whispering. What's going on? Is the Saintess stealing someone's man? I always said the Saintess was a spoiled brat. Now we see the truth. Finny looked pleased when she heard the whispers. She choked back a sob. Your Grace, I saw Darien asking you to call off the engagement. Why did you refuse? You can't just use your status to bully people and ruin their relationships. I almost laughed. These two were determined to piss me off at every turn. Last time, I never actually met Finny. I was always curious about the girl Darien loved so much. Turns out, she was just a whiny bitch. Perfect for that backstabbing bastard. I took a deep breath to swallow the rage. I told you, I'm not going to let you do this. I'm not marrying Darien. You can have that garbage. No one's fighting you for him. Finny, like Darien, didn't believe a word. Don't lie to yourself, Your Grace. Everyone saw how you were chasing after Darien a few months ago. You're just pissed that he chose me. You're jealous. There was no talking to an idiot. I shoved her aside to leave. I barely touched her, and she went down like she'd been shot. Her arm scraped against the gravel, drawing blood. I instinctively reached for her, but then Darien came charging over, kicking me away. I landed hard, his voice a furious roar in my ears. You bitch. You're supposed to be a saintess. Is bullying the weak how you treat people? I curled up on the ground, trying to breathe. Darien was already cradling Finny in his arms. What are you doing out here, you idiot? You're so fragile. Now you're hurt. Ava helped me up. I glared at him, mocking. Fragile? I've never seen a werewolf who falls over from a light touch. You're so weak, you might as well crawl back into the womb. Darien rolled his eyes. Bella, get over yourself. Don't think bullying Finny will make me marry you. It just makes me hate you more. I laughed. Then hate me more. Darien froze, about to say something, but I cut him off. I opened my mouth and started to sing, soft and low. Instantly, Darien and Finny went pale, sweating bullets. As a siren, I was the strongest in my clan. My voice was a weapon. It could mess with your mind, inflict pain. Finny lasted a few seconds before she was soaked in sweat, kneeling on the ground, begging for mercy. Darien wasn't doing any better. He was gritting his teeth, barely holding on. Bella, stop it now. Apologize to Finny, and I'll forget this ever happened. I stared at him, cold. The song got louder. It sounded like someone else was begging for forgiveness. Darien's jaw was clenched so tight I thought his teeth would shatter. His fists were shaking. Finally, he buckled. He went down on his knees in front of me. I stopped, satisfied. I looked down at them. You dare try to cross me on my own turf? You should know your place. I turned away, disgusted, and marched back to my chambers. Curled up in bed, I still didn't feel much better. I touched my throat, relieved it was still in one piece. Last time, I'd wandered into the werewolf pack, surrounded by a bunch of wild wolves. I was about to become lunch meat. Darien showed up and saved me, then walked me home. He was the leader of the Greymane pack. Strong. Handsome. I fell for him. Hard. After the wedding, he was a little distant, but I thought that was just his personality. Never occurred to me that he was using me, And I had no idea he was this obsessed with his little childhood sweetheart. I shook my head. No use dwelling on the past. I had a second chance. This time I wouldn't make the same mistakes. The next morning, I went to the palace to see the king. I heard voices in the garden, and I recognized the voices immediately. Darien, did I do something wrong? Is that why the saintess is so angry? I peeked through the bushes. Darien was holding Finny close. She's just an entitled bitch. Just bear with it. Once she leaves siren territory, I'll drag her to you and you can do whatever you want with her. I clenched my fists, fighting down the fury. Finny looked delighted. Then she played her little act. What if we piss off the saintess? What if she helps them fight us? She started to cry. More important. Finny blinked, and Darien started to explain. He smirked. Relax. Bella is so in love with me, she'll do anything. You wouldn't believe how she sang all night to calm my people on a full moon. The next day, when I got back from kicking the snow fong's asses, she came to congratulate me. Her voice was hoarse and raspy, sounded so gross. So, I slit her throat. Avenged you too. Finny giggled. Too bad I didn't see her face. I bit my lip. Hard. My eyes burned. Last time, I sang until my throat was raw, like needles stabbing me. I was in agony, but I was happy I'd helped Darien. I ran to greet him, full of joy. And he rewarded me like this. Darien kept bragging. So when Bella says she isn't going to choose me, don't believe it. She was probably just jealous, lashing out. She'll probably regret it all night. When I need her, I just have to snap my fingers and she'll come running like a puppy. Once I unite the werewolves, she'll be useless. I'll throw her to my pack, then marry you in style. Rage exploded in my head, making me dizzy. The man I loved. The first person I ever trusted. He'd turned me into a joke. It was pathetic. Lost in my thoughts, I stepped on a dry branch, making a loud snap. Finny looked over. She saw me through the bushes and smirked. I knew something was wrong. She pointed at me and screamed, Darien, an assassin, help me. Darien drew his sword and charged right at me. I froze. Werewolves were fast. I couldn't dodge. The blade flashed and I braced for the pain. I closed my eyes, shaking. But then, there was a clang. Steel on steel. I opened my eyes. Sylar, the vampire, was standing in front of me, shielding me. The sword cut through the bushes. Darien finally saw me and looked shocked. Finny ran over, pretending to be scared. Grace, what are you doing here? I saw someone hiding in the bushes and I thought it was an assassin. Sylar turned to me, frantic. Your Grace, are you hurt? I shook my head. He glared at Darien. Are you blind? You almost hit the saintess. Darien shrugged. She was hiding in the bushes. Who knows what she was up to? She probably deserved to get stabbed for being sneaky. He raised an eyebrow at Sylar, mocking him. What's she to you? You think she's going to choose you? Don't get your hopes up. Darien laughed. I don't want Bella, but she's definitely going to pick me. The shaman's on his way. I'll go wait. He grabbed Finny and walked away. Sylar's face fell. He forced a smile. Your Grace, shall we go? His sadness made my heart ache. I forgot about Darien's arrogance. I followed him to the altar. The shaman walked to the front, chanting in some ancient language. The crowd started to whisper. Who do you think the saintess will choose? Isn't it obvious? She's been sending gifts to the werewolves. She's crazy about him. I don't think it'll be the vampire. She hates the dark. She wouldn't want to marry a vampire and never see the sun. Sylar went stiff next to me. I could feel him deflate. Darien smirked. He coughed. I know the Saintess wants me, but I already have someone I love. I have to refuse her. He pretended to be sorry. I asked you to call off the engagement yesterday, but you wouldn't. I have to reject you in public. The crowd went silent, staring at us. Siler lost it. He grabbed his sword and held it to Darien's throat. Shut up. Don't say anything to hurt the Saintess. Darien didn't even flinch. He casually pushed the sword away. Careful. If you hurt me, the Saintess will be sad. Siler's face was red. He looked at me, helpless. He put his sword away. He just stood there, miserable. The shaman finished his prayer, unrolled the scroll, and read in a loud voice. The shaman finished his prayer, unrolled the scroll, and read in a loud voice. The gods have heard the Saintess's choice. The entire hall held its breath. Even Darien straightened, already looking victorious. The chosen maid of the Saintess Bella is. The shaman paused. Then his voice thundered through the altar. Siler of the Crimson Knight clan. Silence. Absolute silence. Darien's smug smile froze on his face. The crowd erupted. What? She chose the vampire? That's impossible. Siler looked completely stunned. His crimson eyes widened as he stared at me. The shaman continued. By divine decree, the alliance between the Sirens and the vampire clans shall be established immediately. A golden light descended from the heavens. The contract burned with divine fire. The gods themselves had acknowledged the match. There was no reversing it. No appeals. No objections. Nothing. Darien's face turned pale. No. The word slipped from his lips before he could stop it. The shaman frowned. Do you question the gods, Alpha? Darien immediately clenched his fists. His gaze shot toward me. You chose him? I smiled. Didn't I tell you yesterday? You didn't believe me. For the first time since his rebirth, genuine panic appeared in his eyes. No. He shook his head. You loved me. You're supposed to choose me. The words sounded ridiculous even as he said them. I laughed. A cold laugh. Supposed to? Darien, did you hit your head? The crowd exchanged awkward glances. Even Finny looked uneasy. Darien took a step toward me. Bella, stop playing games. I'm serious. I don't care what you're angry about. Choose me. His voice carried a trace of desperation now. You can change your mind. The more he spoke, the uglier his expression became. Because he finally realized something. Without me, his future was gone. No siren songs. No peaceful full moons. No easy victory over the Snowfangs. No united werewolf kingdom. Everything he had built in his previous life depended on me. And now it belonged to someone else. Siler suddenly stepped between us. His voice was icy. The Saintess has already made her choice. Take one more step toward my fiancé and I'll remove your head. Darien glared at him. Siler glared back. The atmosphere turned murderous. Then the king rose from his throne. Enough. The hall instantly fell silent. The gods have spoken. The matter is settled. Darien's jaw tightened. But even he couldn't challenge divine law. He had no choice but to swallow his anger. The ceremony continued. The shaman cut our palms. Our blood dripped onto the contract. The divine light flared brighter than ever. Then a crimson mark appeared on my wrist. A matching mark appeared on Siler's. The mating bond was complete. Siler looked down at the mark as if he couldn't believe it was real. Then he carefully took my hand. Not possessively. Not forcefully. Like I was something precious. Something worth protecting. The exact opposite of Darien. And somehow that made my chest ache. That night, the vampires escorted me back to their territory. The journey took 3 days. For the first time in both lives, I visited the Crimson Knight clan. I expected darkness and cruelty. Instead, I found something entirely different. The vampires welcomed me with flowers, music, feasts, and enough gifts to bury a dragon. Every elder I met bowed respectfully. Not because I was useful. Not because they wanted something. Because I was their future queen. One evening, I found Siler standing alone on a balcony. Moonlight illuminated his silver hair. When he noticed me, he immediately stepped back. "Your Grace." I frowned. "We're mates now. You can call me Bella." He froze. A faint blush spread across his pale face. It was honestly adorable. Then, "Bella." I smiled. The atmosphere softened. After a long silence, Siler finally asked quietly, "Why did you choose me?" The question made me pause. Because the truth was complicated. In my previous life, I'd barely known him. But after my rebirth, I remembered something. After Darien murdered me. When my body was thrown away like garbage. Someone had secretly collected it. Someone had buried me properly. Someone had stood in front of my grave for 3 days and 3 nights. That person was Siler. I only learned it after my rebirth. The old palace records mentioned it. While everyone celebrated Darien's victory, Siler had mourned a woman who was never his. I looked into his eyes. "Because you're kind." His expression froze. Then he looked away. As if he couldn't handle hearing those words. No one had ever chosen him before. Not first. Not willingly. But I had. And from that day forward, everything changed. Meanwhile, the werewolf territory was descending into chaos. Exactly as I expected. The first full moon arrived. Without my songs, the wolves went insane. Hundreds were injured. Several died. The Snowfawn pack seized the opportunity and launched an attack. Darien lost 3 territories in a single month. His reputation plummeted. The packs began questioning his leadership. Then things got worse. Finny, who had always enjoyed pretending to be fragile, accidentally revealed the truth during an argument. Several servants overheard her laughing. "Darien is such an idiot. He actually believes I loved him. I only stayed because I wanted to be Luna." The story spread like wildfire. Within days, everyone knew. Darien confronted her. The argument lasted hours. By sunrise, Finny had been expelled from the territory. The woman he killed me for. The woman he destroyed everything for. Had only been using him. The irony was beautiful. Months later, news reached the vampire kingdom. The Snowfangs had defeated Darien. His united werewolf empire never happened. His allies abandoned him. His pack fractured. Everything he gained in his previous life disappeared. One rainy afternoon, a visitor arrived at the castle gates. Darien. He looked nothing like the proud alpha I remembered. His clothes were torn. His eyes were hollow. He looked exhausted. Pathetic. He begged to see me. Against everyone's advice, I agreed. When he entered the hall, he immediately dropped to his knees. "Bella." His voice cracked. "I'm sorry." I stared at him. Emotionless. "I know." He froze. Tears filled his eyes. "I was wrong. I thought I loved Finny. I thought you would always be there." He laughed bitterly. "But after you left, I realized I never understood what I lost." His shoulders trembled. "I loved you." The words came far too late. I remembered my throat filling with blood. Remembered dying on the ground. Remembered his cold eyes. Then I smiled. Not kindly. Not cruelly. Simply honestly. Darien. If you loved me, you never would have killed me. His face shattered. I stood. Walked to Siler's side. And took my husband's hand. The bond mark on our wrists glowed softly. Go home. There is nothing left for you here. The guards escorted him away. He never resisted. Never looked back. And I never saw him again. Years later, Siler and I ruled together. The vampires prospered. The sirens flourished. Peace spread between our peoples. And every night, when I sang beneath the moonlight, Siler sat beside me, listening with the same expression he'd worn on the day I chose him. Like it was still the greatest gift he'd ever received. This time, there was no betrayal. No knife. No blood. Only a future built with someone who chose me as completely as I chose him. And that was the happily ever after I should have had from the beginning.